Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our third FIRE podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the CFA designation a lot, the CFA challenge, and we have a great guest for you guys, Slater.
Yeah, so thanks for coming back and joining us here today. We're welcoming, some of you guys might know him, but Professor Dave K, CFA, Professor of Finance at St. Mary's College of California, as long as Cal State East Bay, Director of NorCal CFA Research Challenge, former equity researcher and portfolio manager. He got his MBA from Yale and graduated magna cum laude from Boston College. So there he is. I don't think you wanted to add anything else to that.
That's all good. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Thank you for being here. So we want to start from the beginning. What initially drew you to the pursuit of the CFA, and how has it helped shape your career?
So, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a stock analyst. I used to steal my dad's Wall Street Journal from the mailbox when he wasn't looking. It was kind of pathetic. And when I graduated from college, I graduated with a finance major, but I didn't quite understand what the industry was all about and how to get into it. So I started in a different direction, working in insurance, which I do not regret for an instant. Once I kind of got my feet under me, I started looking at what to do, what was necessary in order to get into that business. CFA is a glass ceiling credential for that business. If you want to get anywhere in individual stock investing and investment consulting and a few other areas, it is absolutely necessary. So found that out, dove in and spent a long time making CFA part of my life, and eventually got the credential and worked in the business. So filled the dream, yeah.
And I know you kind of answered some of our next question here, but kind of what distinguishes the CFA? I know you said it's kind of a glass ceiling. It fits in one shoe and kind of one shoe only. So how does that kind of relate to other finance designations?
Yeah, so there are lots of finance designations. I mean, if you can name 6 of them, I guarantee there are 12 more you've never heard of, and that are very important to their respective areas. CFA is very important to its area. If you want to work at a mutual fund, if you want to be a sell-side Wall Street analyst like I was, if you want to be a portfolio management consultant, you really need a CFA in order to get anywhere. That said, there are lots of areas where the CFA just doesn't apply. If you want to become a wealth manager, if you want to work for a CFO, if you walk into the interview with a CFA credential, you will probably get recognition that you did something really tough, but that's going to be as far as it goes. And my philosophy on this is, if you're thinking about a CFA, as hard as it is to get, make sure that you make the most of it, which means do your level best, and I know sometimes this is tough, but do your best to see that you want to end up in the area that the CFA speaks to. If you're looking at wealth management, say, well, maybe I'll get a CFA to shore up my skills, it's just not worth it. As hard as it is to get, it's just not worth it.
And are there any other designations you've considered getting, and is it beneficial with the CFA to pursue any other designations?
So yeah, there are lots of worthwhile designations. Being an academic now, I'm not entirely in that area anymore. If I had kept going in the job that I worked before I got into teaching, which was family office portfolio management, one that I think I would have very soon gotten is CAIA, which is, I forgot what it stands for, but it's all about alternative investments, specifically not stocks or bonds, which is a fascinating area. It's a very convoluted area. It's hard to get your head around some of these really sophisticated investments. I think it's fascinating, really, really fascinating stuff. If you're going to deal with diversified portfolios, especially big ones like you would for an institution, CAIA is a great credential to have. And there are many great credentials to have. That's the next one that I would probably pick.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And then, so as college students are kind of wrapping up here on our senior year, and then some other kids following, with the CAIA, with the CFA, how do we think about timing? Is it post-grad? Do you take the test right away? Do you wait a couple years? How would you look at it?
Yeah, so that's a really tough question to answer. One of the big answers that people tend to give to that question is try to get the credentials locked down as soon after school as you can, because you're still in the mindset of a student. You're still thinking about taking tests and in the mentality of answering test questions. Definitely something to be said for that. I started, 7 years after I graduated college. I started the CFA. I think my own answer to that would be do it when you figure out what you want, whether that's right out of school or whether it's 10 years later. What's more important than remembering what it's like to answer a test question is, as I just said, going back over it, are you going to make the most of it? Are you in a position where this is the right one for you? Better to make that decision late than make the wrong one early.
Awesome, thank you. And then while studying for your CFA, how did you initially break into the industry?
So I was, the summer in between my first and second year in business school is when I took level 1. That was tough, but it was also, well, and to speak to what I said a minute ago, a lot of the level 1 curriculum overlapped with my first year curriculum of business school. So I did get a knowledge advantage from taking it close to school. And then I really wanted to come back to the Bay Area after graduation. And so I conducted a long distance job search, which was tougher than a local one, definitely. And I was looking at just about any kind of job I could get, big companies, small companies. And I had a phone interview. I had a first round interview with a startup investment bank. They actually exist. Investment banks do start. They're not just huge 120-year-old companies. And so I had the first round phone interview, and it went well. And I knew that this was a small enough company where they didn't necessarily have the budget to fly me out for a second round in-person interview. And so I had planned to take a trip out to the Bay Area for other reasons. And I called up the hiring manager who had interviewed me over the phone. And I said, listen, I plan to be in the Bay Area on these dates. I thought our first round interview went well. Would you like to do a second round? So I chose myself for the second round interview, which was, that was a little terrifying. I guess you could say gutsy, maybe you could say terrifying. And he said yes, and I ended up getting the job. So that was my first job in the business, and I was, the door was open after that.
And then how long did you stay kind of at that job in IB?
It was, my time in the investment banking industry was turbulent, to say the least. So I got that job in the summer of 2007. I think you all know what happened about a year after that. And so things rapidly deteriorated. End of 2008, a year and a half later, I was laid off, as was a large portion of this startup company. After several months, I was able to network my way into another job. Things kind of went south after that. I don't want to be disrespectful, but the reputation of the investment banking industry of having a lot of strong personalities is very true. And so I had, after about 5 years in the business, I thought, this is too stressful. I can't take this anymore. And so, as I said, this was my dream from when I was a kid. And so, okay, you know what? I did it. I checked the box. Let's move on to something else. And no regrets.
Nice. Yeah, don't let your dreams become a nightmare.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And fast forward to now. Now you're a teacher. What do you like about being a teacher, and what do you think is the value that you give students?
So, having been in the business, I really feel like I want to bring whatever lessons I've learned to my students. And really, there are some things that I paid a heavy price to learn, and I'm hoping that if I can give that to somebody else for free, it counts for more. And the main thing I really want to convey to every student I meet is do a job you love. Figure out what you want to do, and I understand it can be very difficult to figure out a calling, but do your best to figure out something you really enjoy and go get it. And there was a speaker who came to business school to talk about career planning once, who said that his biggest mistake was he got the job of his roommate's dreams. Don't do that. Don't try to just get the job at the fancy investment bank or whatever it is because that's what everyone else wants. Choose what you want to do, figure that out as best you can, and go after it. That's, in my opinion, that's what it takes to be happy, period.
Yeah, that's awesome insights, and something that we're going to be carrying forward here, and hopefully everyone listening can take with them. And I kind of want to pivot here to the CFA Research Challenge as the coordinator and as past participants in the challenge. Kind of want to hear from you. What makes the CFA? Dolby was our stock too, so
right, yeah.
Professor Dave representing here today.
Totally planned it that way, yeah.
And so what makes the CFA Research Challenge valuable for students, and what kind of skills do you think students gain from it?
Yeah, so I think this is, I just sent out the kickoff email to the advisors for, I believe this is going to be my 9th year conducting the challenge. This is, and you know what, if you'll indulge me, let me just backfill a little bit on what the challenge exactly is, right?
Yeah.
So the CFA Institute, which is the governing body of the exams, runs this challenge every year. It's teams of students from the different universities are all given the same stock, and they write an initiation report, very similar to kind of initiation that I would write on the sell side. And then they, in person, present their recommendation under scrutiny of a panel of judges. I'm the director of the Northern California local. I think last year we had 16 teams from 12 universities. We have, I won't spoil the surprise, but I've been told that we are going to be taking on 2 new universities this year, one of which has never participated before in the challenge. And the thing that really drives me about it, and I'm going to be a broken record here about doing a job you love, it gives students the chance to take a look at what stock analysis is really like. A lot of people, I bought NVIDIA and it went up to this and that's really exciting. Okay, great. What is it really like to do it? To do it professionally, to do it for a salary, and to be told that you need to do it over and over and over and over again and make money over and over, right? It's a tough job. It can be a great job to those who really have the knack for it, but it's hard. And the CFA Challenge is a chance to take 3 months out of your life and insert yourself into that job. Not only the type of work that you do and the modeling and the writing and all that, but also the intensity, because it gets very intense, as you guys are well aware. And so you're in that environment, you're experiencing about as close as you're going to get to the real thing without actually doing it as a job. And then, hey, you get to walk away and you get to do a post-mortem and decide, did I have fun? Is this something that I really enjoy? Is this something I want to do for a living? even if you don't, you come away with a great experience, with something you can tell potential employers, with an actual report that you helped write that you can circulate to anybody, wealth manager, a CFO, anybody who you want to work for, no matter what area of the industry. So being able to see this for a short time, get as close an experience to it as you can, and evaluate it for yourself, that's a really valuable experience.
As two student participants, me and Slater could not recommend the challenge enough. We had a great time doing it. It's very challenging. It took us around 3 months to finish. It was a very hard thing, but you get to work with great faculty. You get resources that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. It was a really great experience, and I highly recommend it to anyone who has the chance to take it at their school. Like we said, it is super prestigious. Have you heard any stories from employers, or do you know how employers view the challenge on a resume?
You know what? Before answering that, I want to turn it back on you guys a little bit. So thank you for talking up the challenge like that. But me, and I know this is completely off script, but like, what was your experience in it? What were the things you liked and didn't like? And maybe you can talk a little bit about how intense it was and how that made you feel.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. My team was fortunate enough, we were on different teams, but my team was fortunate enough to have Professor Dave as a coach. And I think you told us throughout and on the day of the challenge that everyone says to you, this is the hardest thing I've participated in, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I think those are the exact words you would use. Couldn't have been more true. Very challenging, very demanding. At first, we kind of didn't take it as serious. You need to hit the ground running 3 months in advance for sure. But it's not an easy challenge. I mean, we had to spend a lot of hours, outside of class doing all sorts of things to form a report. But I mean, the actual, you can do everything perfect, and then you go in front of the panel of judges. Dave's not one of them, but they're experts like Dave, and it's hard. It really it sheds light on what the actual environment is in real life. And I think that was like a big wake up for me. I just never thought of it being as challenging as it turned out to be. And if that's just the challenge, then the actual career field, and once you have that designation, is that much harder. So I wouldn't change anything about it. I love the challenge, the opportunity. But yeah, it is demanding. It is hard.
One of the big challenges that I would add, you're working with a group, and it's the same as school projects, but you're working with a group, and the hard part is getting everyone on the same track and mission as you. To be all driven in the same direction, it's very hard to get everyone aligned like that. So I think working with the group is where the challenges start coming. And me and Slater were in different groups, but I felt like that was our biggest issue. Everyone just hitting our deadlines, everyone being individually motivated. I think that's where the challenges came for us. But that's what you have to do in the real world. So working with people that maybe you didn't handpick, that's something that it's a reality. And I think that was a really good experience on the challenge.
Great. So what was the question again?
Yeah, it's how do employers typically view the CFA Research Challenge on their resume?
So not everyone knows about the challenge. Everyone knows about the CFA. Right? And again, even people who are in wealth management, who are in many parts of the finance industry, even if they don't have the CFA as a required or even a recommended credential, they know about the CFA. They know how hard it is to get one. And so having participated in the challenge, it's got the CFA attached to it, right? It's got the CFA branding. And so the kind of cachet that comes with the CFA brand is a big part of it. I haven't heard about a lot of students who have gone into interviews and discussed the challenge. I mean, a handful of them have told me about times that they've done that. And when they say CFA, the employer says, "Oh, okay, that's serious." When they talk about the challenge, it's like, "Oh, stock picking competition. Okay, tell me more about that." So it's a really good conversation piece, and they know it's no joke.
Yeah, and I think I can kind of attest to that as well. More so just the conversation piece of it all. I definitely have had interviews where they've brought up the challenge, and you're right, you have to explain it. They know CFA is something prestigious, so they know there's effort that went into it and a reason why you're putting it on your resume. But yeah, great talking piece. Great way to get the ball rolling in interviews. And then that kind of translates to a question that I've been asked, and something I want to ask you is, what skills from the challenge are translating to the actual CFA exam or a career in finance?
Well, to a career in finance, a lot. I mean, as I said, the analytical tools that you use, using a PE ratio, knowing what a DCF is for, understanding what the beta of a company is for, and also analyzing the company, analyzing its business and trends that are going to be important to it over the near term, over the long term. All important stuff. And a lot of it even goes beyond finance and beyond investing. Understanding or predicting whether a product is going to be a hit, right? That has got many, many different areas where that skill can be valuable. And as I said, the intensity, being able to work in a kind of environment where you're under a big time constraint, tempers run hot, and being able to handle that, being able to gulp that down and keep working and put the deadline, slam dunk the deadline. So how much does that help for the exam? Less than a job. The studying of the exam is intense. So again, being able to slam that deadline when you're under pressure is a big part of it. But with a CFA exam, you're talking about several years of that rather than 3 months. So not quite as much connection to the exams, but very much a connection to the career.
Okay, now we want to talk a little bit big picture for students pursuing their CFA designation. Have you noticed any changes or trends that have changed or will continue to change in the next 5 to 10 years?
Mm-hmm. So I've been involved with, until recently, I was involved with the CFA prep program at Princeton Review. So competitor to Kaplan, or I'm sure you've all heard of the Princeton Review, the test prep service. And so it was my job to stay ahead of whatever kind of trends were happening. A big trend that's happening right now is that the industry is going more quantitative. I have been told that for most of the jobs that you would get coming out of school in investing, you need to know at least some amount of coding because the quantitative models are on the rise. R and Python are the names that I hear quite often. The CFA exam is responding to this. They are making some changes to the exam. The big one for that is that there's what they call a practical skills module, which is a learning module that you need to complete. It's not graded, but you need to complete it after you've taken the exam. They will not give you your score unless you have completed the module. It's not graded, so you're not under the kind of pressure that you are for the exam. And of the choices of the practical skills module you can take, there's a lot to do with Python and with coding. So the exam itself is adapting. This is what I'm hearing is happening in the industry, and the exam itself is adapting.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That's kind of news to me. I hadn't heard of that, but something that we should all look out for as we're looking to pursue these designations and other skills we should be building. So I kind of like one of our last big questions is, how do you balance, and I know you have a good answer for this, but how do you
good anchor question.
How do you balance studying for the CFA with work, school, personal life?
You don't. You just don't. So this is it. If I haven't convinced you yet how difficult this test is, here is what will convince you. A student who studies for the CFA, there's a mantra that you need to put in at least 300 hours of studying in order to have a legitimate chance of passing the CFA exam. Study for 300 straight hours, which is, usually people start 4 to 6 months ahead of time. I would recommend 6. And when you're doing it, it's the thing you should be doing whenever you're doing anything else. It's really just work, eat, sleep, study. And in order to have a real chance, you need to be in the mindset of, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. This is all I'm doing. When I counsel students when they begin, the first thing I say is, you should have a conversation with your friends, with your spouse, and say, listen, I'm not going to be able to go out with you guys in the weekends now because I am a studier. This is what I am. Honey, I'm going to need you to walk the dog more often because I cannot spare that 30 minutes away from studying. It has got to be what you are. If you can achieve that, then you have a very good chance to pass. Now, as bad as that sounds, think about this. Once you put those letters behind your name and you finish all three, no one can ever take that away from you. You can, if you stop paying your dues, then the CFA Institute will make you put inactive after the letters, but you will always have that credential. You don't need to keep it up. It will always be yours to keep. And so, as hard as it is to get, the benefit is permanent. No one can ever take it away from you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Professor David, for joining us on our third podcast. I don't know if you have anything else to say. Any closing remarks?
Good job, guys. Best of luck to you. So glad to see this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for listening.
Like and subscribe.